Hello and welcome back to TFI Global. Breaking news from the war in Ukraine. Russian forces have captured the key region, Novouspenovskoye in the southern Zaporizhzhia. According to Moscow's Ministry of Defense, units from Battlegroup East advanced deep into Ukrainian defenses, completing what they call the liberation of the settlement after fierce battles. In the past 24 hours alone, Russia claims to have inflicted over 1,200 Ukrainian casualties, marking one of the bloodiest days on this front in recent months. Ukraine, however, insists that its troops made a tactical withdrawal amid overwhelming Russian firepower, a move aimed at saving lives and regrouping for counter-strikes. The capture of Novouspenovskoye is far more than a minor tactical gain. It represents a critical shift in the ongoing struggle for southern Ukraine, an area that has been relatively static since Kyiv's failed 2023 counteroffensive. The small village, located about 10 kilometers from the town of Huliapol, sits along the strategic Orikhiv corridor, a route that leads directly towards the regional capital of Zaporizhzhia. By taking Novouspenovskoye, Russian troops have opened the door to further advances that could outflank Ukrainian positions along the Gaichu River and threaten the defense lines around Kyiv, one of Kyiv's most fortified hubs in the south. According to Russia's Ministry of Defense, the assault on Novouspenovskoye was spearheaded by the 114th Motorized Rifle Regiment of the 127th Division under the 5th Guards Combined Arms Army. After seizing the nearby settlement of Novoy on November 10, Russian forces pressed southward, launching coordinated attacks with artillery and air support. Moscow's statement describes the operation as a decisive breakthrough after the collapse of Ukrainian defenses along the Yanchu River line. Videos shared on Russian Telegram channels show armored columns of T-90 tanks and BMP-3 infantry vehicles rolling into the village. Soldiers are seen hoisting the Russian flag on a shattered building, smoke rising behind them. A Russian commander, identified by his call sign Hunter, claimed that Ukrainian forces fled in disarray, leaving behind vehicles and ammunition. From Kyiv's point of view, however, this was a calculated retreat, not a rout. Captain Volodymyr Voloshin, spokesperson for Ukraine's southern defense forces, said that the positions in Novouspenovskoye and 4 nearby villages, Novoy, Rivnopilya, Solodke and Yablukove, were de facto destroyed after over 2,000 Russian shells rained down in a single day. He said, the intensity of attacks forced us to reposition to more defensible lines. Every meter of our land costs Russia hundreds of lives. Satellite imagery released by the Institute for the Study of Wars shows that Russian forces have expanded their control by nearly 5 square kilometers, while 3 other villages northeast of Huliapol remain contested. Both sides are reporting heavy losses, but the numbers don't match. Moscow claims it killed or wounded over 1,200 Ukrainian soldiers across all fronts, destroying 15 tanks, 28 armored vehicles and 12 artillery systems, including the Western-supplied M777 howitzers. Kyiv disputes those figures, saying that Russian forces suffered roughly 1,000 casualties in the same time frame, with 12 Russian tanks and 22 armored vehicles destroyed in Zaporizhzhia alone. Independent verification remains impossible, but analysts say the scale of Russian artillery fire, reportedly 5 times greater than Ukraine's, is taking a devastating toll on Ukrainian defenses. Control of Novouspenovskoye could mark the beginning of a much larger push. Experts at the Royal United Services Institute warned that a Russian breakthrough in this area could isolate Ukrainian forces defending Orikhiv and potentially pave the way towards the larger goal, the city of Zaporizhzhia itself. Jack Wadling, a RUSI analyst, compared the situation to the earlier fall of Avdiivka, where months of grinding attrition ended in a sudden Ukrainian collapse. Russian advances in Rivnopilya and Solodke may also allow Moscow to link its southern forces with those near Poltavka, tightening the noose around Ukrainian supply routes. This escalation in Zaporizhzhia coincides with renewed Russian offensives near Pokrovsk and Kupiansk in eastern Ukraine. Kyiv's top commander Alexander Syrskyi admitted that the situation in several southern sectors has significantly worsened. President Volodymyr Zelensky, during a visit to the Kherson region, described the situation as difficult, partly due to weather conditions that favor enemy attacks. Russia, meanwhile, claims to have deployed up to 150,000 troops in its push towards Pokrovsk, what Moscow calls the gateway to Donetsk. For Ukraine, the problem isn't just the lack of ammunition, it's manpower. Front lines are thinning after 3.5 years of continuous warfare. At the same time, Russia's superior drone reconnaissance and artillery systems are allowing them to strike faster and deeper. For the residents of Novouspenovskoye, the liberation brought nothing but ruin. Homes lie rubble, roads are cratered, and the once quiet farmland is now a battlefield littered with unexploded shells. Russian sappers are clearing mines as Ukrainian drones buzz overhead. The few remaining civilians face freezing nights with no electricity, no water, and no certainty of safety. After nearly 1,000 days of full-scale war, over 1.15 million soldiers and civilians on both sides are dead or wounded. This is a staggering toll unmatched in Europe since World War II. The fall of Novouspenovskoye is both a tactical victory for Russia and a warning for Ukraine. As winter approaches, the front lines are shifting once again, and with them the course of this devastating war. This marks the start of a deeper Russian breakthrough into southern Ukraine. Hope you liked the breakdown. Subscribe for more verified updates, frontline analysis, and geopolitics. Thanks for watching.